The parable of good Palestinian. So high noon, in an obscure airport somewhere in the Middle East, Abraham Weinstein, an American tourist, was furious. He was told that his return flight to New York had been canceled for security reasons. So as he looked around helplessly, he saw two men in baggy trousers, ill-fitting jackets, and checkered keffiyeh, headdresses indicating they were Palestinians. So before he could make a move, one of the men fired two shots at him. Simultaneously, two other men opened fire at the ceiling. So as the crowd scattered in panic, the assassin walked away casually. So as Abraham lay on the floor, people simply passed him by. Years of war seems to have insulated them from a sense of compassion. So as the last conscious spasm shook his body, his sense floated into cold darkness. When Abraham opened his eyes, he was in a small room that was bare except for two oversized cabinets. So on the small table beside his bed were a surgeon's instrument in disarray. Someone had saved him. So the door opened and a very tall man entered. "I am Dr. Mahmoud Jamil. I saw what happened at the airport," he said gently. So he brought with him a bowl of simmering soup. "Thank you for helping me," Abraham said, and added, "Are you a Jew like me?" Mahmoud replied, "I am a Palestinian." So Abraham panicked. Mahmoud smiled reassuringly. "Don't be afraid. I am not one of those who shot you," said Mahmoud. So as he fed Abraham, Mahmoud narrated this story. 3 months ago, I went home to find our house surprisingly quiet. When I passed by our parents' room, I heard a loud snoring. I thought they were both asleep. The snoring suddenly stopped after an hour or so. So curious, I peeped inside. I was horrified. My parents and my younger brother were hanging upside down from a wooden beam. So their hands and ankles tied together. Blood flowed from their noses and ears. They must have been in that position for hours. The snoring I've heard was their agonizing moan and gasping. They could not breathe. Blood clogged their noses and throats. It was too late. I, a doctor, could not do anything to save them. So Mahmoud continued, "Ever since I was born, I have never known what real peace is. Every day, the Jews and Palestinians are engaged in a war they call just and holy. How can heaping one violence act after another be holy and just?" He looked at Abraham and said, "When my loved ones died, I vowed to take vengeance." So instinctively, Abraham looked at the surgeon's knife at the table. It suddenly looked like an attractive instrument for defense. But Mahmoud smiled strangely as he touched Abraham's bandaged wounds. "This is my vengeance, my friend. This is my protest against all the violence in the world. I destroy violence by healing the wounds it inflicts. This is the kind of vengeance that makes us Muslims, witnesses of God, who show mercy over our world despite its wickedness." So Abraham listened. He looked at the pale bird face of those magnetic, piercing black eyes. In the presence of the Palestinian named Mahmoud Jamil, he, Abraham Weinstein, an American Jew and a tourist, felt humbled and worthless.